The Iowa Hawkeyes just got incredibly disrespected. Let's talk about it. My name's Aaron.
And I'm Paul.
And we are the Big Ten guys on the daily, pushing out Big Ten content, news, rumors, analysis, whatever it is, Big Ten right here. Paul, tell them what they got to do.
Just take a quick second, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, get those alerts on because we got a lot more Iowa and Big Ten content coming. Don't miss out.
Don't miss out. So, ladies and gentlemen, today, what we're talking about, and we don't want to get you too riled up, get you too upset, but a lot of people right now are picking already Iowa State to beat the Iowa Hawkeyes in the coveted Cy-Hawk rivalry. Now, I will tell you also off the bat, Vegas has Iowa State by 6.5, which is a touchdown, which is a lot. And in my opinion, probably Paul's opinion too, incredibly disrespectful to the Iowa Hawkeyes. Now, off the bat, I'm going to tell you this. We're going to jump into some just rivalry data off the bat. First and foremost, the last time Iowa State won back-to-back games was 2011 and 2012. That's the last time they did it. On top of that, they actually have a worse home record against the Hawkeyes than they do away, which is really, really weird.
It's bizarre.
So they're 9-24. Am I correct?
9-22.
Sorry, 9-22 at home in Ames, Iowa. And they have only won 24 of the, I believe, 71 matchups between the two teams. So first and foremost, before we even jump into what I would say is the meat of the whole discussion of why we believe Iowa's going to win this game, first and foremost, you just got to say, wow, that's the audacity to be able to come out and just say that even before the season gets started. And I will concede, sure, Matt Campbell has done well at Iowa State. He's brought a team back. But I feel like his stock, even though last year, again, they almost made the playoffs. If they would have beat Arizona State, which I think Arizona State was the better team, obviously, his stock, I don't think has been as crazy as people, it used to be.
Yeah.
And this team is not as good as it was last year. Iowa has made a lot of upgrades. Iowa State, they've lost a lot. Specifically, Paul, let's talk about wide receiver. What do you got?
Yeah, so if you watch Iowa State at all last year, they had two stud receivers, Higgins and Noel, who both actually went to the Houston Texans in the NFL draft. One of them was a second-round pick, I think Jaden Higgins, and then Noel was third or fourth. They were both pretty early picks. Mm-hmm. But they went to the NFL, and with them, a majority of the yardage, and they were replaced in the portal by a couple guys. Xavier Townsend out of UCF and Chase Sowell out of East Carolina. I think Townsend had 300 yards, 3 touchdowns as his best season. He was injured last year, so he only had 69 yards. And then Sowell was he had almost 700 yards, but only 3 touchdowns as well last year. So where is the receiver production going to come from for Iowa State? Because if you look at Higgins and Noel, they accounted for 2,400 of the 3,500 yards and 17 of Iowa State's 25 receiving touchdowns. That is a lot of target volume.
A lot of production.
And I don't feel like they got nearly that much back in the portal.
No, I would agree 100%. What they got in the portal does not replace what they lost. On top of that, another stat just to throw at you, 61% of the passes completed were to, again, guess it, Higgins and Noel. So again, they are losing massive, massive amounts of production when it comes to the wide receiver core and this offense. So to just be able to go out there and make a statement like this where, hey, they're going to win just because, sure, they had a good season last year and they almost had a chance at the playoff, doesn't mean they're going to come back and be this kind of dark horse team that's going to push the playoffs. Paul, what else we got on Iowa State?
Well, and so another stat just about like their passing offense last year is like while Beck he's a solid quarterback, threw for 3,500 yards, 25 touchdowns. That's legit.
It's not bad.
He only completed 59% of his passes. So if you're doing that with two NFL caliber receivers, and now all of a sudden you got guys who really weren't
Kind of
super
scrubs.
yeah, if we're being honest, they weren't super successful in group of 5. What are they, group of 5, group of 6
5
now?
Man, group of 6. Yeah, I don't know what we call it now. Group of
But
6.
yeah, they weren't even in a Power 4 conference last year, and they weren't super productive. So for a guy who only completed 59% of his passes, to take a downgrade like that at receiver is big time. And then on the other side of it, Iowa got a massive upgrade to their passing game with the addition of Mark Gronowski.
Huge.
If you haven't caught either of our earlier Iowa videos, we encourage you to do that. We are very high on Gronowski. I think he just adds another element with his ability to run. He is a threat in the red zone. I think he had 10 touchdowns rushing one of these years at South Dakota State. So Iowa should be much improved in the red zone, especially, you look at last year's game. What was Cade McNamara, like 13 of 29?
For 99 yards and 2 interceptions.
Yikes. And Iowa still almost won that game. It was 20-19. Iowa was winning a lot of the game. The only reason Iowa State even had the lead is one of those receivers took a big 75-yard touchdown. But I think with it flipped now, with Iowa being a team who probably will be much improved in the red zone, and 17 of their 25 touchdowns from receivers last year being gone, I think Iowa State's going to struggle in the red zone, and that, I think, will in turn flip the game.
100% flip the game. On top of that as well, we really need to take a dive into Iowa State's schedule, because they play 2 games before the Cy-Hawk game, whereas Iowa only plays 1. So they play Kansas State, who last year went 9-4, and a lot of people project to do just as well this year. That's the first game off the bat in August. And then at the end of August, they play South Dakota. Now, you might laugh at me saying this, but playing a team like South Dakota, who is much better in the FCS ranks, made a little run in the playoffs this year, went 11-3. That's not a game you just kind of shrug your shoulders and say, well, FCS team, that's a win. You can't do that. Paul?
I'm a Michigan fan. I was in attendance at the Michigan-Appalachian State game. You don't sleep on, you can sleep on some FCS schools, but not the ones that are at the top of the FCS. And a team you can sleep on, though, is Albany, who was Iowa's first game this year. So Iowa's only game before Iowa State is against Albany. I don't even know if they're in the FCS or if they're Division II.
They're D3. They're JUCO.
They might be a JUCO school. I don't know. But I think what's huge about that is Iowa State is going to have to put their offense on tape. Like, Kansas State is going to be a dogfight.
Yep.
South Dakota, even if Iowa State ends up coming out pretty easily, like, you can't just throw in your backups for half of that game. Like, you're going to see the new receivers on tape. You're going to see the routes they like to run. There's going to be all sorts of film for Iowa to be able to break down. Whereas Iowa, you got to imagine the starters are probably only playing a half.
You would hope, yeah.
Yeah. Gronowski, like, they're not going to do anything fancy. They're not going to dive into their bag of tricks. They're just going to run it up the gut, get up 24-0, and then put the backups in. And Iowa State's going to have nothing to go off of, no film on how Gronowski's going to look in this offense. And that's just going to be a huge advantage for the Hawkeyes.
Huge advantage. So when it comes down to it, people coming out and saying Iowa State for sure going to win, Vegas having the numbers they do, just disrespectful. Just incredibly disrespectful. Again, what do you think? Comment below. Do you think, and granted, it's a rivalry game. I will concede that. You never know what's going to happen.
Should be a good game.
Should be a good game, but it is crazy to think that right now we're at the end of July and people are already making these huge predictions. So I would tell you too, our plan with this show is we plan on every week putting out a video talking about odds, bets. Again, not financial advice, but it's fun to talk about. And so right now with Iowa State -6.5, literally I would take Iowa money line or take Iowa in the points, because that sounds to me like free money.
Yeah. For sure, Iowa and the points feels like free money. I mean, I don't know how many of these games go for more than 6.5 in either direction. They're usually really close games, but I like Iowa straight up. I think Iowa money line's a good bet.
Listen, don't sleep on the Hawkeyes. And you might laugh at us and say, listen, that's a Michigan State fan and a Michigan fan. Listen, go watch our videos on Wisconsin. Go watch our videos on, I'm trying to think out a couple other teams.
USC, Washington.
Yeah, they're not as friendly. Michigan State, we're not as friendly. We're not as friendly. Iowa, don't sleep on the Hawkeyes. Take them, money line.
Yeah.
Again, not financial advice. But, Paul, you got anything else to say?
Just take a quick second, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. We got a lot more Iowa and Big Ten content coming your way.
Don't miss out. Peace.
See ya.